So hi, I'm Jess from America's Grower. I am a programming associate and I started back in 2020. Our mission is to donate 100% of our produce. We are a nonprofit farm and hunger relief agency. We started back in 2002, and since then we have donated 17.3 million pounds of fresh produce. And I'm going to just go over the history of how we started and our pillars and where we are now. So back in 2002, our founder, Chip Palix, moved from Bergen County out to Hunterdon County and was looking to do a daddy-daughter project with his 4-year-old daughter at the time. And he was driving by our headquarter farms in Pittstown, New Jersey, and saw a sign by the side of the road that said 30 by 30 foot plot for rent. So he went in and he talked to the farmer, and he has never gardened a day in his life. So he did a lot of research. He made this gorgeous spreadsheet of everything that he was going to plant and heard a lot of different rumors, but he planted at least 30 tomato plants for him, his wife, and his 4-year-old daughter. And if you guys have done gardening or even seen a garden before, you'll know that that was a whole lot of tomato plants as well as other crops as well. And so him and his daughter were tending to that garden. And then one day in July, it was just exploding with produce. So he did what anyone would do, and he gave it out to friends and family, church. He even brought it into work. And then one day everyone was like, please stop with the tomatoes. We don't want any more. He claims that people started hiding in their cubicles and everything. So luckily one morning, he was reading the local newspaper and saw a plea from the Flemington area food pantry that said, if you have a garden, if you could grow a row for the hungry and donate your extra produce. So he said, great, this is perfect. I don't want to teach my daughter to have food go to waste. And we just have so much. So him and his daughter packed up their box of produce and they waited in line with the clients. And when they got to the front, they said, great, thanks. You can put it on the shelf. They didn't even have a refrigerator at the time, because if you've ever done a food drive, they only really ask for shelf stable goods, cans and boxes. So they're leaving the food pantry, and Chip was like, this is great, my good deed for the day. And as he's leaving, one of the clients comes running out after him. And she said, sir, can you promise me that you'll come back? Because I'm trying to manage my diabetes with my diet, because I can't afford my medication. And I just can't do that with the food they have here. The fresh fruits and veggies would be the best thing for me. And so that really struck Chip's heart. And he went home and did some research. And back in 2002, 1 in 5 children were going hungry, and over 1 million residents of New Jersey didn't know where their next meal was coming from. So he was hooked. That year, he continued growing in the garden. And that first year, he donated 120 pounds of fresh produce. The next year, the garden got a little bit bigger. He asked his friends and his family, oh, can I plant some extra stuff in your garden? And it continued to go bigger and bigger until he couldn't work at his corporate job full-time and then go be a farmer full-time at night. So in 2008, he took that leap of faith, and we became an official nonprofit. And fast forward to last year, we donated 2.3 million pounds of fresh produce. And we do it with the help of volunteers. So everything is handpicked, and we have about 9,000 volunteers out annually. So we have 3 pillars. And if you look on the front of your brochure, I'm also recording on Zoom, grow, glean, and give. So grow is pretty self-explanatory. We have 4 locations that we own and operate preserve farmland. Our headquarters is in Pittstown, New Jersey. We also purchased an additional 40 acres across the street from our headquarters. We have another farm in Milford, New Jersey, that's over 100 acres. And then in 2020, we acquired another farm through a donation, Valley Crest Farm and Preserve in Lebanon. And that's where I came along as well. So a very good purchase. And we have a variety of over 20 fruits and veggies, anything from apples and peaches to corn squash, potatoes, zucchini, tomatoes. And we only have a staff of 29 people, including our farm team, development, programming, admin. So we really rely on the volunteers to help us with many jobs at the farm, specifically harvesting. The harvest season is mid-July through November, and we accept people of all ages. We've had 5-year-olds out, we have newborns and strollers, we've had people, I think our oldest person that came out was 104. I couldn't believe it.
Man or a woman?
A woman.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I've never met a man who lived to be 104.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize how old they were until later after the group. And then I was like, there's no way, because it was like an August day and we're picking like corn endlessly, it felt like. And I was like, no way. So that's the oldest person we know that's volunteered with us. And then our second pillar is glean. So have you guys heard of that word before?
Not really.
So we use it basically as a fancy word for rescue. We have on the field gleaning and off the field gleaning. So on the field gleaning, we partner with 2 U-Pick apple orchards, Ryemead in Chester, New Jersey, and Longmeadow in Blairstown. And we go in after a weekend of U-Pick. And so like a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and we'll rescue the apples that have fallen to the ground, because if you've ever gone apple picking, you pick one and some of the rest fall.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so sometimes it's called seconds, but we go in, we make sure there's no juice coming out of the apples or anything, and then we have a partner, Move for Hunger, come and pick it up and bring it directly to one of our hunger relief partners. And then we have off the field gleaning, which is grocery stores. So we go in, we have 7 partners now through ShopRite in Weiss. The closest one to here might be the ShopRite of Chester, or
Not Mansfield.
not man. We only have a handful of ShopRites, but if you guys have the connections, and when they get a new shipment of produce in, they will set aside the one that's older. It's not necessarily bad, they just don't have the room for it anymore. And we have a volunteer driver go in and pick it up and bring it to another food pantry or another hunger relief organizations. And between those 2 efforts, we rescue 250,000 pounds of produce that would have went to waste otherwise. And last year, we also onboarded a farm, Flocktown Farm, down the road from us. They had a CSA and they just didn't sell all their crops. And we actually went in and harvested some and then sorted some of their bins that they had. And that helped us reach that 250,000 pounds as well. And then our third pillar is give. So we give our produce regionally. We give to major food banks. And if you look at the inside of your brochure at that map, we are reaching New Jersey and 16 other states. As far as Texas, we give mainly to the food banks that are closest to us, but others as well. So Community Food Bank of New Jersey gives all throughout New Jersey. City Harvest gives all throughout New York City. Philabundance gives throughout Philadelphia. And then we partner with a cooperative, the MARC, Mid-Atlantic Regional Cooperative, and they give up to Maine and down to Virginia. Then if you see on the map, we have Texas, but nothing bridging that gap in between the other states. People always wonder why. So when we have extra produce, like last year, we had over 600,000 pounds of squash. So these reoccurring food banks were like, please, we can't have any more squash. And it kind of sounded like the original story of how we started. But through Feeding America, we'll do a posting on their website. And whoever wants to pick it up and send a truck, they just claim it. And we had Texas do that about 4 times last year. So that's why we gave to Texas, and we didn't really reach those other states because they didn't claim any of that produce.
So all we had to do was contact.
Yeah, so
Colorado
it's
and
like-
say, we need a truckload.
But there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. So if they're part of Feeding America and we're part of Feeding America, they can just see these listings, and if they want to come pick it up, and if they can come pick it up in that short time period, because we try to get it out of the fields and into the hands of the people who need it.
Religious organizations who
It's a
respond,
real
or-
mix. So Houston Food Bank,
Yeah.
which you might have seen like on the news during COVID, that's the biggest food bank in America. They
Oh,
had
okay.
a load of food from us, I think 2, and then there was 2 other food banks like that don't have religious affiliations,
Yeah.
but locally we give to some churches that have food pantries within that church as well.
Yeah.
I think I gotta freshen my memory, but I think Long Valley Church has a food
Could
bank that
be,
we
yeah.
give to.
It could
That's
be.
pretty close to here, I think.
I help with the food bank right down here in front of the Presbyterian Sunday School.
We might
get
give
to-
to you.
What?
I said we might give to you. We have a lot. So we give locally called free farmers market program. So that's where we give to churches, YMCA, school, food pantries.
Yeah.
And that's about 30 partners. And
Oh,
but the list is full right now, and there is a waiting list because I know everybody knows somebody who's part of a food pantry, and everyone does need food. But we also have a program called You Pick. So we have a nonprofit organization the opportunity to come out and pick produce twice, once in August and once in September.
Mhm.
And you either send volunteers on your behalf, or you send people from your organization to pick produce. And then they get to drive it back to your organization and hand it out. But because August and September, we have the most volume, we're able to provide
yeah,
that as
yeah.
well, which is great for some places that really don't need that much, but just some would be great.
Yeah.
We also give through education. So at these free farmers markets, which are basically set up like a farmer's market, the clients get to go in and pick whatever they want.
Mhm.
We noticed that some things were getting left behind and we weren't sure why. And it's because nobody knows what to do with a 10-pound butternut squash. So
exactly.
we hired an executive chef in 2020, and she makes educational cooking videos about how to even prepare it and what to cook with it, and as well as recipes. And she does adult education, but we also do youth education as well. We go out into schools. We go into public schools and talk about Grow Row and the importance of volunteerism, but we also go out into underserved schools and do what we call healthy eating lessons. And we'll go in, and this year's lesson was Eat the Rainbow. So we brought in
Oh, very
different
nice,
colors of fruits and veggies, and they got to try those different ones. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Okay, never mind. It went away. So, and it's really great because then they get to bring the knowledge home. Oh, I tried it with Miss Jess, so now I want this at home,
Right.
which is really great. And some of the programs that we went to even receive our produce during the summer. So when they do get zucchini during the summer, oh, I tried this with Miss Jess and Miss Shauna. I want to eat this now. Like, I know what this is, because sometimes it is very daunting if you've never seen it before. It's like if you go to the grocery store, you're not going to buy something you don't know, because one, you don't know what it tastes like, and two, you don't know what to do with it. And then we have a program called Kids Farm Days, where we bring out over 800 children from underserved communities, pay for the entire day for them to get out there in the bus, and they get to do a culinary lesson with our chef. And last year it was a peach parfait, and then I bring them out into the fields and they get to pick produce that they get to bring home with them. And those are all of our programs. And so a lot of times people will say, oh, if you're a nonprofit, you don't sell a single thing. Like, how do you afford everything? So we are 100% privately funded by corporations, foundations, and individuals. We do not accept any government funding whatsoever. So we really rely on our volunteers coming out or just spreading the word. So that's why I came to present today, trying to just get the word out and get interest in volunteering. Or if we have like scouts come out, Girl Scouts, school groups, youth groups, whoever wants to come out, we normally have a spot for them.